All right, in homework question 2, we've got two functions to display the expenses and also the income for a different company. And so here are our two functions. We've got this function here, g of x, and the function g shows us the expenses, and the function f, so f shows us the income. And this is in millions of Turkish lira. So the important thing we should also look at here is the domain. So the domain tells us the values for which the function actually exists. So it's going to be here between 0, including 0, and up to 6. And we could also write that inequality. We know how to write that using another inequality notation here like this, with the square brackets because the values are included. So let's do function f first. So we should see the y value is when x is equal to 0. So if we substitute 0 for x here, we see we just get 12. So that's the y-intercept up here. And we should then look at the slope. So the slope there is -2, because that's the coefficient of x. Don't forget that the minus also goes with that. So for every 1 across we go in the x direction, we should go down 2. So we should draw the function values that we need to draw a line through here. And remember to stop at 6. You guys can use a ruler. I'll just do this as neatly as I can. So there's our function f. Be careful not to go past 6. For g of x, we know that the y-intercept there is going to be 3. And there's the coefficient of x here is +1. So for every 1 across we go in the x direction, we will go up 1. And we can draw points here along the diagonal because the scale is equal to 1 on both of the axes. Remember to not go past 6, so we should be very careful with that. And that is our function there. And let's give it a label too. So this was g of x, and this one here, f of x. All right, so now let's look at the questions. For us to find the time at which the income and the expenses are equal. So we should include the units here on our axis here. X was time, and the y values were the million TL. Up here is where it's set in the question. So for us to find the time where the income and expenses are equal, we should look here at the point of intersection, and we can see here the x value will be 3. So the x coordinate comes first, and then the y value 6. So the time is 3, and the millions of Turkish lira will be 6. We should also remember to include the units here, so that the time was in years, we see here, 3 years. And the income was in millions of liras, so 6 million Turkish lira. Right, so then in part C, we're asked to find the time intervals where the company makes a profit and makes a loss. So for profit, the income must be higher on the graph here. So for the profit, let's write it in yellow, because this yellow line here must be higher. So we can see as we start, yes, it's above the green line, it's above the green line, now it's equal, and then it's getting below the green line. If you imagine a horizontal line like this, for example, here, we can see that where these points intersect, the yellow point of intersection is higher than the green point of intersection. So that's how we decide. All right, so we can see the profit is then the first section of the graph here before 3. So we should write this as let's do it as an inequality. So 0 is included here, and 3 is not, because that's not a profit or a loss. The income's equal to the expenditure. And for a loss, the green function must be higher. So this section here is where the green function is higher than the yellow one. So loss, we should say, is between 3 and up to and including 6. All right, so we've done the time interval where the company makes a loss, where it makes a profit. Then we should determine the maximum profit. All right, so the most profit is where the distance between the two lines here is the greatest. So we can see it starts off small, gets bigger, and as we continue to go back right to the start, actually, that was when it was the maximum profit here. So another way you can think about it is you notice that the income is decreasing, and so that's going to be at the start where it's going to be the highest, but the expenditure is increasing, and so that also tells us that at the start would be the maximum profit. So the maximum profit is max profit when x equals 0 is going to be, so we look at here, the value of the expenditures was 3, income was 12, so 12 minus 3, the maximum profit is 9 million lira. Remember to include the units.